Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to time travel about 5,000 years back to uncover a lost utopia. Imagine a society that built incredibly straight, multi-story cities with engineering so advanced, it literally baffles modern architects today. And then, it just disappeared into silence. No massive wars, no towering monuments to boastful kings, just an incredible, peaceful civilization that history completely forgot about. So let's unravel the absolutely magnificent rise and the very mysterious fall of the Indus Valley Civilization.
Okay, let's just quickly look at our roadmap for today. First, the accidental discovery. Second, origins in Mehrgar. Third, the urban utopia. Fourth, life, trade, and culture. Fifth, the great unsolved mysteries. And finally, sixth, a climate-driven collapse.
Section 1. The accidental discovery. Stumbling upon a lost world.
So our story actually kicks off surprisingly recently, back in 1826, when a British explorer named Charles Masson spotted these strange ancient brick ruins in Punjab. At the time, locals thought they were just gifts from the gods. But the real kicker, and this is a bit tragic, happened in 1856. British engineers, the Brunton brothers, desperately needed stone ballast for the Karachi to Lahore railway line. Well, locals pointed them to these massive mounds of perfectly fired ancient bricks nearby. So these oblivious engineers actually accidentally crushed the priceless remains of one of the world's oldest civilizations just to lay down train tracks. No way, right? It wasn't until the 1920s that archaeologists like Dayaram Sahni and Rakhal Das Banerjee finally realized they had stumbled upon a sprawling, lost Bronze Age civilization.
This perfectly sets up the eerie atmosphere of Mohenjo-Daro. Banerjee actually discovered this site, which is 590 kilometers away from Harappa, while he was just looking for a Buddha stupa. The name itself means Mound of the Dead in Sindhi, mostly because of the staggering number of human skeletons they found at the burial mounds there. When John Marshall, the Director General of the Archaeological Survey, finally connected the dots between Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, it literally pushed Indian history back by millennia.
Now, what is truly staggering here is the sheer scale of it all. We're talking 1.3 million square kilometers. It stretched from Jammu and Kashmir in the north down to Maharashtra in the south, and from Uttar Pradesh in the east all the way to the Pakistan-Iran border in the west. With over 1,500 discovered sites, this civilization was vastly larger than the ancient empires of Egypt and Mesopotamia combined.
Moving on to Section 2, Origins in Mehrgar, the Neolithic seeds of a metropolis.
Obviously, a society like this doesn't just pop up overnight. Over thousands of years, there was a steady, remarkable evolution. It all began around 7000 BCE with early farmers in Mehrgar. They transitioned from hunting and gathering to domesticating crops like wheat and barley, living in simple mud brick houses. Fast forward to 3300 BCE, and you see them transitioning into a highly connected society. They're building defensive walls, using much sturdier burnt bricks, and even trading for precious lapis lazuli all the way from Afghanistan. This groundwork laid the foundation for an absolute explosion of urbanization around 2600 BCE, what experts call the mature, golden age of the Indus Valley.
Section 3. The Urban Utopia. Master planners of the ancient world. If you were to walk into one of these cities, the very first thing that would strike you is the incredible order of it all. The cities were strictly divided, almost like a giant puzzle. On the west, raised up on a high platform, sat the citadel. That was your central administrative or religious hub. Then to the east lay the lower town. This was a massive, meticulously planned residential area for the general population. It genuinely looks like they designed the entire city from scratch with a ruler and compass.
Now this is absolutely crucial to understand just how advanced they were. Their indoor plumbing and covered drainage systems were honestly better than what a lot of modern cities have today. The streets were laid out in a perfect grid, intersecting at exact 90-degree angles. And get this, whether you were standing in Mohenjo-Daro or 600 kilometers away in Harappa, the fired bricks they used to build everything were the exact same standardized size and ratio. Their multi-story homes were designed for privacy, opening onto quiet side alleys instead of main streets. They had central courtyards, private wells, and these incredible covered street drainage networks that even had actual maintenance manholes.
Right at the heart of the citadel sat this incredible waterproof structure known as the Great Bath. It was massive, 12 meters long, 7 meters wide, and 2.4 meters deep, and expertly sealed with a thick layer of bitumen and gypsum to stop any leaks. It's definitive proof of their absolute mastery over complex masonry and public works. It was most likely a center for special religious or purification rituals. And just nearby, they built these massive, heavily ventilated granaries to safely store food for the entire city.
Section 4. Life, Trade, and Culture.
the peaceful merchants of Meluhha.
So what drove their massive economy? Trade. Heavy cross-border trade. Operating from super impressive port cities like Lofal in Gujarat, which actually boasts one of the oldest known dockyards in the world, they established robust maritime links with Oman, Bahrain, and especially Mesopotamia in modern-day Iraq. The Mesopotamians actually wrote about them. They referred to this incredibly resource-rich land as Meluhha, and they eagerly imported Harappan gems, copper, gold, and timber.
Beyond all that commerce, they were a deeply cultured and remarkably peaceful society. For starters, they were the world's first known cotton farmers. We've actually found ancient scraps of cotton still clinging to silver jars. Men wore these draped shawl-like garments, women wore skirts, and pretty much everyone, regardless of class, loved wearing jewelry. The wealthy wore gold and gems, while others wore beautifully crafted bone and shell. They were master bronze workers too, creating exquisite pieces like the famous dancing girl statue. And on a really relatable note, kids played with clay carts, whistles, and even dice that look exactly like modern Ludo. It really shows how much they valued play and leisure.
Section 5. The Great Unsolved Mysteries, Silent Stones, and Lost Kings.
Okay, here's where things get incredibly frustrating for historians. They left behind these beautiful, soft steatite stone seals that feature intricate carvings of unicorns, bulls, and tigers. But sitting right above these animals is their written language. It's made up of about 400 to 500 unique symbols, and to this day, it remains completely undeciphered. We have absolutely no clue what language they spoke, what their names were, or what stories they told each other. It's completely silent.
And that leads us to an even bigger question. Who was actually in charge? Despite having massive granaries and perfectly standardized bricks, which obviously requires intense central administration, we have never found a single royal palace. No dominant king, no grand tomb, not even a massive temple structure. So who on earth was managing this 1.3 million square kilometer empire? Was it a council of merchants? A group of religious figures? We just don't know. And it remains one of the greatest historical puzzles out there.
Finally, Section 6, a climate-driven collapse, the demise of an empire. Now we reach the final, tragic phase. Around 1900 BCE, the climate essentially turned against them. Over generations, the essential monsoon weather patterns began to shift. There was this drastic decrease in rainfall, which caused their absolute lifelines, the mighty Indus and Saraswati rivers, to either dry up completely or violently shift their courses. And, well, without the rivers, their crops completely failed, the trade networks shattered, and the economy just completely collapsed. Without reliable water, these massive cities simply could not survive. It wasn't some sudden fiery apocalypse or a massive war. It was a devastating, prolonged environmental crisis that slowly forced the population to migrate away, eventually abandoning their metropolitan masterpieces to be buried by the sands of time.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to ask ourselves a pretty critical question. When we look back at this lost metropolis, the civilization that completely conquered engineering, public sanitation, and global trade, is their greatest mystery really those unread symbols on their seals? Or is it the chilling modern parallel of their environmental collapse? As we face our own rapidly changing climate today, the silent, empty streets of Mohenjo-Daro might just be echoing a very real, very powerful warning from the past.